Highguard was actually a really solid game, but that was in an alternate universe. Sadly, it got shut down there too, because farming resources required a sphere that looked way too much like a Pokeball, and the Nintendo of that universe sued the developers into oblivion. So yeah, game over. Hi everyone, this is Alex, and in today's video I want to talk about two massive topics: the absolute fallout of Highguard and the latest news/rumors surrounding the next-gen consoles. Alright, let's talk about Highguard. The servers are officially shutting down, and honestly, considering the launch, it survived slightly longer than some expected. But the game still got hit with a massive wave of criticism. Instead of just piling on, I want to dig a bit deeper. What exactly should they have done to actually make Highguard a success? First off, I'm pretty sure that at the TGA 2026, if developers want that prime mid show slot, they'll have to cough up a lot more cash. Nobody wants to be dead last. Closing the show is probably going to be the bargain bin option. I'm joking obviously, but honestly, I bet that's roughly how it's gonna play out. But let's get back to the game. Let's say the announcement stays exactly the same, revealed at TGA 2025. What actually needed to be in that trailer to hook us? The devs needed to show real, raw raid shooter gameplay. They needed to give us actual glimpses of what the game is. Imagine if the pitch was this: we want to make a shooter with raid mechanics. You're probably wondering, what does that even mean? Picture this: players drop into a relatively tight map for a 5v5 match. Before the chaos starts, teams have to fortify their base. But this isn't just brainlessly running around slapping up random walls. You can reinforce specific lanes where you expect the enemy team to push, but you can never seal everything off completely. There will always be vulnerable blind spots. For combat, players are wielding magic, bows, and slow firing but absolutely devastating muskets. No M16s, no RPGs, no frag grenades. On top of that, the resources are scattered across the map. You can farm them using a sphere that looks suspiciously like a Pokeball. Also, to crash the enemy team and secure loot that buffs your heroes, players have to take down world bosses. These bosses rotate every week, bringing completely different abilities to the table. Once the boss is down, the winning team snags the stat boosting loot and immediately pushes the enemy base, forcing the other squad entirely onto the defensive. Imagine if the developers shadow dropped an open beta right after the TGA reveal. Then, in February, Highguard gets its full launch. The game immediately hits 100k peak concurrent players and sits comfortably at mostly positive reviews. But right before any natural player drop-off can happen, Nintendo slaps them with a lawsuit. The game shuts down, riding off into the sunset, remembered by players as a damn good shooter, a genuinely solid mid-tier game, and all the community outrage gets dumped straight onto Nintendo. Sure, all of this might sound a bit silly, but jokes aside, building a successful online shooter right now is insanely difficult. The market is absolutely flooded with multiplayer shooters. The pie has already been divided, and trying to steal an audience by just slapping on one unique mechanic that other games don't have, it's damn near impossible. It has to be something truly groundbreaking. Think about it. No player is going to permanently abandon a game where they've already dumped hundreds of hours and bought a ton of skins just to gamble on an unproven new shooter. The sunk cost is simply too high. In my opinion, back in the 2000s and 2010s, MOBAs and RTS games served as solid alternatives to shooters. But let's be real, those are much more complex and demanding games. They attract a smaller audience, and in these games you need to think more, whereas a shooter is a purely addictive clicker where your enjoyment completely depends on your reaction. Free-to-play online shooters will keep coming out and also collapsing after release, and most likely new players will be coming into them from old shooters because they have gotten stale. But then the desire to return to the familiar game will take over. Gamers will abandon new projects and again play those online shooters to to which they are accustomed and which have firmly taken their niche. I'm sure that games like Concord, even if it's not a free-to-play game, will keep appearing and we will still be discussing them and laughing at them. But they will look for other ways to advertise themselves, and possibly they will even learn something to survive a little longer. And now to the news about the announcement of the new Xbox and rumors about the PlayStation 6. You know, I'm starting to get the feeling that very soon consoles from Nintendo, Sony, Xbox and Valve are going to be the absolute only piece of hardware left capable of actually running games. Why? Because the cost of a standard gaming PC and its components is going to absolutely skyrocket. And honestly, companies like Nvidia and AMD are just going to pivot entirely into data centers. That's just my speculation, of course, but all these desperate attempts to make every game playable everywhere, that's not happening because things are going great. You know what's really the saddest part about Xbox in all of this? For the last 8 years or so, they've tried so many times to listen to player feedback. They've repeatedly claimed that games are their absolute priority. But time after time, whether it's the Xbox One X, the Series X, or hell, even going all the way back to Project Natal, none of it has ever managed to actually meet the expectations of Team Green fans. The most interesting part now is how they are going to market the new Xbox. Will Microsoft stick to Sarah Bond's terminology about delivering a premium gaming experience on the next console? Because in my eyes, right now the word premium is way more associated with being completely inaccessible than it is with being the best place to play. By the way, did you see this recent tweet from Asha Sharma? Project Helix will lead in performance and play your Xbox and PC games. Looking forward to chatting about this more with partners and studios at my first GDC next week. You guys blurred the line between PC and Xbox yourselves. What's the point of saying the new console will be able to run both Xbox and PC games? The only logical conclusion here is that the next Xbox is just going to be a PC in a console's body. A wolf in sheep's clothing? Are we going to see PC storefronts on there like Steam, Epic Games or GOG? There's also a rumor going around that the PS6 will likely drop before 2029. The theory is that otherwise, Sony's chip manufacturing timeline with TSMC will fall through and they'll lose money on it. After all, there's already a massive line of other companies fighting for that silicon, especially data centers. Plus, Sony definitely doesn't want to lose the battle for raw horsepower. That's still a massive marketing tool for them. However, raw power doesn't really surprise anyone anymore. These new consoles are going to have to introduce something entirely unique, something that doesn't exist on PC and wasn't around in the previous generation. Once again, it's highly likely going to be heavily tied to AI. Speaking of power, a massive amount of people are still actively playing on the PS4. This just proves that new hardware doesn't hold a ton of value for the average person, as long as new games keep running on their old systems. It also shows that the hardcore enthusiast market really isn't that big. Globally, it's still entirely unclear how Sony's strategy is actually going to work. If they really do want to scale back the number of titles dropping on PC, how exactly do they plan on dragging audiences into their ecosystem? Right now, that's a tough sell for one simple reason. The quality of their first-party titles has taken a massive nosedive. Sony desperately needs genuinely good games. Say what you want about Nintendo, but they have firmly secured their niche. They make games exclusively for their own console. Essentially, Sony has been trying to sit on two chairs at once. The only viable way for them to actually compete with Steam and Microsoft is to retreat back to their own hardware and keep PC ports extremely rare. We'll see how it all plays out. In the grand scheme of things, I highly doubt we'll see the next generation of consoles before 2028. And even when they do launch, the price tag is probably going to hurt. But we also have to keep an eye on the cost of PC components. If those prices completely skyrocket, then even in this rough economic climate, consoles might still end up being the better deal, even if they are incredibly expensive. Thanks for watching to the end, subscribe and hit like if you enjoyed this video. If you didn't, thanks for watching anyway. I'll see you in the next one, and drop a comment. What is your main or only gaming platform right now, and are you considering switching to a different one in the future? See ya.